Sorry, but thank you, Brian. And thank you, Tina, for organizing this important event to raise funds for FCDC. I'm Holly Hazard, and I'm running for the House of Delegates, District 38. At this time in our country's history, we need big, bold leadership to undo the harms of the past 20 years. And not just to build back, but to reimagine an economy that is equitable for all, to reimagine environmental stewardship to be fair and equitable so that it protects our planet, our people, and especially those most in harm's way, to reimagine a criminal justice system that's based not on punishment and prejudice, but on help and hope, and a healthcare system that acknowledges healthcare as a right, not a privilege. I'm a passionate, strategic, committed Democrat. I'm an attorney who's been involved in social justice issues my whole life, and I've successfully fought for transformational change for animals, kids, and women. I've tackled and solved environmental problems in my own community, and now I'd like to take my years of success and make that transformational change in Richmond. The incumbent is a fine Democrat and a kind woman, but in 12 years in office is a long time, and it's just time for a change. She talks about her experience, but what is experience without significant results? Some years she passed no legislation, and she hasn't passed a single piece of landmark legislation ever. This year was better, but even those bills nibble around the edges, I think, of the problems, and they don't face them head on. She is good, but the question we should really be asking is good good enough? Don't we want bold, strategic, inclusive, and passionate? And I want to just give you one example. Yesterday, she sent an email to her supporters about this event. She asked them to make a choice between supporting FCDC or donating money to a food bank. Now, I understand food insecurity, and I've worked as a concerned neighbor since the beginning of the pandemic to provide help. I organized a large bin in my community to collect groceries, and we delivered 5 to 15 bags of food a week to the Culmore Resource Center, which supports a community near me. That's 300 to 600 bags of food this year. We need to fight food insecurity right here in our community, but we also need leaders in positions of power to make systemic change. We need leaders who think about and not or. Doing good isn't a zero-sum game. FCDC should never be pitted against other organizations doing great work in another capacity. We have to support both. We must find funding to make sure that we can have sample ballots, election protection, and the infrastructure to support Democratic candidates, because we need a legislature that's filled with effective leaders who can champion legislation to ensure that people have enough to eat, a place to live, a great education, and of course, a job. And such legislation can only happen if empathetic and strategic candidates get elected with the support of a strong Democratic committee. I'm endorsed by Dan Lagana and Candace Bennett, among others, and I wanted to be that bold, strategic leader. I ask for your vote tonight, and most importantly, on or before June 8th. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And next we have Delegate Kory from the 38th, the incumbent. Delegate, welcome. Let's make sure we can. There we go.
Now,
welcome.
I'm unmuted.
Yes, we can hear you now.
Thank you. Thank you. And I want to thank FCDC for this opportunity, and also Brian. I know how hard it is to create a virtual meeting, even just one, let alone the complex achievement that you have now accomplished, and allowing all of us to speak and listen and watch each other's faces as we actually do that. I am truly delighted to be here and to reach out to Fairfax County Dems to ask your support for my re-election as delegate for the 38th district. I've been privileged to represent the 38th since 2010. Well, I have to tell you, with the possible exception of accomplishing Medicaid expansion in 2018, the 2020 and 2021 sessions during my 6th year in office have been our most successful and rewarding. This past year of virtual legislative sessions has been a real challenge, but the extraordinary results that we have delivered for Virginians speak for themselves. As chair of the House Committee on Cities, Counties, and Towns, in 2020, I was able to deliver legislation to empower local governments to remove the racist Confederate memorials that have plagued our Commonwealth for years. My legislative focus this session has been social justice, the environment, criminal justice reform, standing strong for working families, and advocating for women. For example, I was the House patron of the Senate bill to abolish the death penalty. I co-patroned marijuana legalization, voting rights expansion, and supported the constitutional amendment to enable automatic restoration of ex-offender voting rights. I was one of the few delegates to vote for collective bargaining to put in such a bill years ago. My bill to provide payment relief to Virginia families with incomes under 150% of poverty reduces utility costs for thousands of Virginians. My bill to allow localities to create special purpose green banks will facilitate renewable energy investment across the Commonwealth and is the first in our state and the first of several states in the nation. My bill to require Virginia's prisons to provide feminine hygiene products free of charge gained national attention as the first such legislation in the country. My inmate video visitation budget amendment dramatically increased the ability of incarcerated men and women to preserve ties with their families. My Humane Cosmetics Act made Virginia the fourth state in the nation to ban products tested on animals. We do have to maintain
I'm not sure.
the Republican, we have to fight the Republicans and maintain the Democratic majority. Democratic control of the General Assembly is crucial to the success of our legislative agenda over the next 2 years. And this will include tackling the complex challenge of eliminating right-to-work barriers to collective bargaining and continuing the fight to dismantle the legislative barriers that block and destroy the systemic racism in our state that has been here since this state was founded. In addition, I will use my position of chairman of the Cities, Counties, and Towns Committee to initiate a formal review of the Dillon rule-based constraints on local government. Again, all these are tough and complex, multi-dimensional issues. Now is the time for us to act, to build on what we've accomplished in the past session. I know that I have
Delegate, your time's up. Please wrap up.
very
Thank you.
much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.